changes until I know not only how to do the job, but why the job is done the way it is. That's more important. However, down the road, I would like to take some of my computer background. I've worked with computers since 1970. I was blessed of having a school which way back then actually had computers way before the PC era. And I have a lot of background in computers and taking things into a computer environment. I think I would work on bringing maybe a little bit more computerized of a system online, and also seeing whether any electronic fund transfer or electronic paying of bills made sense. One of the other things that I have at my disposal, if you will, is my wife is a veteran of 28 years at the local bank here in town, and she runs the electronic banking department, so I could draw upon her expertise as far as how electronic banking could assist the town in making things easier, more efficient, and possibly less expensive. Thank you.
Great. Since we kind of delved into this area and we kind of do this on the fly, the next question is actually going to be, how do you feel about the treasurer's and collector's positions being merged? And if you agree, in what time frame would you like to see it happen? Since we had some illusion that, or two of you mentioned that you wouldn't change things right away. There is obviously a faction in town that believes it should be merged. There's a faction in town that believes it shouldn't. So if you could give your views on that.
I am not totally opposed to merging the treasurer and collector positions, nor am I totally for the merge. I'm kind of sitting on the fence, really. In order for the two positions to be combined, there would have to be a lot of work done. With the positions currently running now, they're running on opposing time frames, so that would have to be determined how to bring the two positions together cohesively. There still would need to be an assistant treasurer and an assistant collector, for the positions have different duties. It would have to pass at town meeting and as a ballot question at the annual town election. And as both Mary and Frank mentioned, they believe it should still be an elected position, and I believe it should be elected whether it's a separate treasurer collector or one treasurer collector.
Great, thank you. And Glenn?
I think that in a year or two, when the regionalization comes into full swing, we're going to have to really look at a lot of the positions, because I think a lot of the work that the treasurer does is going to go away. So merging the two positions may not be as tough in a couple of years. It should be looked at. It's got to be looked at objectively, without any emotions, the pros and cons, and then brought before the town. Let the town make that decision, but it may be fiscally better for the town to combine those positions in the future.
Great. And Martin?
I believe the discussion which has taken place about this is actually something which I had understood the Department of Revenue had been sort of nudging the town towards. So there's obviously that piece of the puzzle which has to be taken into consideration. That being said, it's up to you, the public, as far as whether it actually happens or not. So I respect whatever the town votes in. Should it become a reality? Absolutely, I'll take on the responsibility in a heartbeat. As far as timing goes, we're actually sitting right on top of a very exciting time here in Town Hall. We've got a lot of new people coming on board. We've got a new treasurer, a new town clerk, tax collector, and I believe for the short term, we should leave status quo and let the new people learn the jobs from the people that have been doing it that way. I think that only makes sense. As Glenn had mentioned, regionalization is coming up. When regionalization comes online, the paying of the bills for the schools and the payroll for the school is going to go away from the treasurer's office. That takes place in, I believe, fiscal 2012. That, to me, would be an ideal time where some of the work in the treasurer's office is going away to bring the tax collector online, if that's what you people want. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm now going to do a question that came in from the audience. What do you feel would be the proper role of the town treasurer in interaction with the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee in their work recommending tax and budget policies for the town? You want me to read that again? Okay. What do you feel would be the proper role for the town, for the town treasurer in interacting with the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee in their work in recommending tax and budget principles to the town? For town meeting and warrants and stuff, I think is what we're getting at.
Well, I feel that the treasurer doesn't really have to make those decisions. Certainly, he's got to cooperate, or whoever it is has to cooperate with those committees. I feel that it's up to the selectmen and the finance committee to make decisions about the budget. It's the treasurer's job to make sure there's enough liquidity in the accounts to cover the bills.
Okay. You don't have to defend it to me. So Glenn?
All right. As a treasurer, as the town treasurer, the treasurer takes controls of all accounts, money, everything that's within the town, and it is his responsibility. If he finds issues with budgeting, if there's some savings that can be had by doing one thing or another, or there's policies that need to be put into place, it is his responsibility. It is responsibility to the town people. It's their tax money. He's got to bring it before the Board of Selectmen and let them know that this is way we should go.
Great, thank you. And Martin?
The treasurer's position, if you will, is the chief financial officer of the town. If the town was a business out there, the treasurer would be running the money end of the business, if you will, paying the bills, paying the payroll, and so forth. As far as specific budget items, the heads of the departments need to come up with those. It's the treasurer's piece of the puzzle to work to make sure that cash flow is sufficient, that we're not being overburdened by having to borrow too much money. It's similar to in your own homes. You have to keep control of the checking account and the savings account to make sure that the money's there at the right time to pay the bills. I think the treasurer certainly needs to be involved in the conversation. I don't think he needs to drive the bus, but I think he needs to have his expertise and his knowledge and his skill there to be able to tell the town, these are the repercussions of if we spend our money in this manner.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we're gonna do your closing statements. So that was, because of time, that was our last question. Stephanie, if you could do your,
Sure.
sorry, take your time.
I have had opportunities to form some networks with the people who